Everyone, Arlene here. Welcome back to my Country Craft Corner and Arlene's Travels. How in the world are you guys doing today? It is so good to see you again, and thank you so much for stopping back by to see what I'm up to. And what I'm up to today is I want to bring a few days of our cruise to you, our back-to-back Voyage of the Glaciers cruise. I will be telling you about the rest of our northbound Voyage of the Glaciers cruise. Then I'm going to tell you about turnaround day in Whittier. And then I'm going to tell you about our first day out on our southbound Voyage of the Glaciers cruise out of Whittier to Hubbard Glacier. Oh my goodness, we did an off the cruise ship. We climbed off the cruise ship and we got on a small boat. And the small boat took us closer to Hubbard Glacier. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start with our last day of our northbound Voyage of the Glaciers cruise. As you know, I skipped ahead to the next week and I went ahead and did Jaylene's Alaska. So I kind of threw that kind of curveball into you, but now I'm getting back to, in order and in the queue here. So after Glacier Bay, if you remember that video, the day after Glacier Bay, we go into College Fjord. But we don't get to College Fjord until the evening hours. I will say that it says here on the Princess Patter, it says, throughout our time in College Fjord, our naturalist Sandra Shemp, let me get that right, will be giving commentary on our natural surroundings and wildlife sightings from the bridge. Commentary will commence from 6 until 7 p.m. to highlight points of interest. And then from 7 p.m., she will be outside on deck 7, promenade, to answer questions and talk. Y'all know what? I'm not totally sure how long we were in College Fjord. We have been there before, and we did not really go outside until, and I'll show you what we saw later. But I wanted to tell you about something that we went to see this time, and it was the culinary demonstration. Oh my goodness. And a lot of the crew participated in the culinary demonstration. Yay!
And go with him.
Not only does it star kind of the head chef and the maitre d', but it also starred a lot of the crew members, and they showed off their talents. Some of them sang, some of them danced. It was wonderful. It was a wonderfully put together show, and it was so much fun. So I highly encourage you. I'll show you pictures here. I highly encourage you to, head to the culinary demonstration. Usually it's held on the last day of your cruise, so you will have to pack and whatever else that day, but take an hour or an hour and a half to go and take a peek at this culinary demonstration. It is so much fun, so much fun. So I just wanted to mention that to you. And to tell you the truth, the four of us did not do a whole lot else this day. We really kind of treated it as a sea day. And we knew we'd be going into College Fjord in the evening after dinner. So we went ahead and went to dinner in our main dining room and ate, with Tanaya and with Tudor, and had a lovely dinner in there. And by the time we left, we headed up to the upper decks, and we were going to try to play some cards. We were gliding through Glacier Bay, or gliding through College Fjord. Now, College Fjord, y'all, if you've never been, is absolutely beautiful. And it is the holder of over 26 glaciers, tidewater glaciers. Plus, there's hanging glaciers. There's all kinds of glaciers. So I encourage you, if you've never done College Fjord before, to get out and look and see what is what. All of the glaciers are named after colleges in the United States. And the largest glacier that you'll see is Hubbard Glacier. And we did pause. Oh my goodness, we saw Hubbard Glacier from the windows, and we shot outside onto the aft deck there and were able to catch some stunning pictures of Hubbard Glacier. I've never known us to get that close to it. We were very close to Hubbard Glacier, very close. I was very impressed with how close the captain was able to get us. And of course, he pivoted the boat just like he did at all the other glaciers in Glacier Bay. I highly encourage you to look for Hubbard Glacier and to listen to the naturalist and her commentary, you guys. And then it says, it's like I said, at 7 o'clock, she'll be out on the outside on deck 7 promenade. I didn't go down there to see Hubbard, but I bet from 7, that puts you down like at eye level or looking up on it. I can't even imagine. I would say the upper decks actually had us about eye level with it. If you were down, you know, on the promenade deck and looking up at this massive glacier, I can't even imagine how awe-inspiring that was, you guys. College Fjord is absolutely beautiful. It was not the prettiest of our days on this day. It was raining, it was cloudy, it was misty. But on those days, as I say, don't lose faith, don't lose hope. You're still going to be able to see the blue of the glaciers come shining through. And, you know, I'm so excited to tell you about the wonders of Alaska, you guys. I am not even kidding you. So if you've never been to College Fjord, and get outside, go look, listen to what the naturalist says. I'm sure her commentary was being fed through the bridge cam onto your TVs. We weren't in our stateroom. We were up and walking around and gazing out of the windows and out of the outside decks and stuff, you know. So anyway, I've been showing you pictures, and for the rest of that night, we did not have to pack. We did not have to pack that day because we were going to be staying on the ship. Well, actually, Chris and I did have to pack because we needed to switch staterooms. We didn't book the northbound of the two until later than we booked the southbound, and the same mini suite wasn't available for both weeks. Let me put it that way. So Chris and I had to move, but of course, and we moved ourselves. Actually, our steward helped us a little bit, but we pretty much moved ourselves. Usually there is an officer that comes and helps, but they were super busy on this morning, and we were moving literally 2 doors down, you guys. We had everything, all of my cubes. All I did was zip up the cubes. Chris zipped up his cubes, threw them in a suitcase. I just threw my cosmetic bag and everything, you know, in the bathroom, in the cosmetic bag in there, and bang, bang, bang. We carried all of our hanging clothes over. Usually they'll bring you a cart for that. Carried all of our hanging clothes over the next morning, and we were moved in about 10 minutes, you know, and unpacked. It didn't take me long because I just put my cubes on the shelves, y'all know. And because we didn't have to fold up anything in the closet, all I had to do was, you know, all we had to do was hang it, you know, hang the hangers. And Chris took the empty hangers from the new room over and put them in the old room so that the old room was not lacking of hangers. You know, we think about things like that. So if you ever do find yourself in that situation, do think about, you know, and you have to change rooms and the officer or the steward doesn't think about that. Take that extra step, you guys, like Chris did. Take that extra step and move those hangers over into the other room. It's going to save your steward time later, which is what we were trying to do. That's why we went ahead and moved ourselves, because I don't like people to have to do stuff like that for me when we are totally capable of doing it. You know, I'm not one to like people to wait on me and stuff like that. You know, I'm just an old country girl, and I do pretty much. Now, it's nice to be waited on, don't get me wrong. But in that situation, our steward had, I don't even know, an immense amount of staterooms that he had to clean and get ready on turnaround day. And he did not need to have to move us. He helped, as I said, but not as much as if we had just said, okay, we're going to sit on the couch here and have our coffee while you move us. I think that's so rude. But anyway, let me just tell you what I think, right? So, I am so excited to tell you on turnaround day. So we had pulled in, let me tell you this too. Let me back up now to 12:30 a.m. Your cruise ship, when you're on a northbound, is going to pull in to Whittier at 12:30 a.m. Whittier is your disembarkation port if you're not staying on like we were. A lot of people disembarked in Whittier and had to take transfers to Anchorage. Have no fear, they're not going to kick you off the ship at 12:30 a.m. at night. They just moor up at 12, really late at night, and the ship sits there and starts disembarkation at about 7. I can look at my pattern here. It was early, 6:30 or 7 a.m. Let's see if it says here. No, it really doesn't. This is just the pattern for the first day. It really doesn't say. I will say we did not have to go off of the ship for turnaround day. There are some ports, usually foreign ports, even like Vancouver, that you have to go out and go back through security and come back on. For this trip, we did not have to. Anyway, back to those who had to disembark. I know it wasn't any later than 7:15 a.m. that they started the disembarkation process, because remember, Whittier is about an hour and a half away from the Anchorage airport, and a lot of people disembark and go straight to the airport, you know, and they have to go through that one-way Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel that opens to one-way traffic every half an hour on the half an hour. So you really have to time, or the transfers, you know, really have to time when they leave Whittier. So, of course, Princess is very efficient. They got all the luggage off, and, you know, they went through the disembarkation process. And next thing I knew, everybody was gone, and the train had taken off even for, you know, the interior, those who were doing a land tour after. The train was off and running, you know. I am amazed at Princess's efficiency. And, you know, if you follow the directions that you're given, you're not going to have any trouble, you guys. So have no fear about the disembarkation process. It really is. If we were going to be disembarking there, we would have been given luggage tags that would coincide with we usually take a Princess transfer that would coincide with our transfer, and we would be given color-coded tags. We'd have to set our luggage out by after dinner, I think, by 10 p.m., I think, the night before. They pick up the luggage, they take it, they put it in the cruise terminal, and then you disembark the ship, go through the cruise terminal, grab your luggage, and go find your transfer. Very easy peasy lemon squeezy, you guys, honestly. So anyway, disembarkation was done, and Chris and I were moved to our new room. That was done. Barb and Don did not have to move rooms. Lucky duckies that they were. So we knew that our buddy Scott Singer, for those of you who've been with me, know that we cruised the Caribbean with him, and we've been friends for a long time. Scott and I started our YouTube channels in the same year, back in 2016. It's been a wonderful however many years since we've met Scott. So Barb and I, Scott says, he lives in Anchorage now, and he was coming to Whittier, and he's able to come on the ship with us. So he came to Whittier and met us in the cruise terminal, Barb and myself. Chris did not go, and Dawn stayed on board too. So the fellas didn't go. Barb and I went with Scott, and the first thing we did was take a tour around Whittier. Now, Whittier is not very large, you guys. And everybody who lives in Whittier lives in this apartment complex. And it's very interesting because they have like 2 different church services, I guess, for 2 different denominations. I have it here in a picture. It is very historic. Whittier was a deep port for the American Army, I believe. And during World War II, it's where they held a lot of munitions because we were so close to Russia there. And there was an army base there, and all of this is depicted on the walls in the apartment building there in Whittier. And I'm showing you pictures, and I'm not going to, if you are interested in that, please Google it and research it, you know, and see what I'm talking about. It is a pretty quirky, yet amazing place. We met one of the pastors, and everybody was very, very warm, very welcoming, just as sweet as the day is long, you guys. You know, so glad to see somebody in their town, you know. And there was one place, their little store in there, their little grocery store, and they called it their Cozy Corner. And here's a picture of me under the sign of the Cozy Corner. And the reason that is so cute to me is because for those of you who don't follow my Arlen's Country Craft Corner channel, I created something called Cozy, C-O-Z-Y corners, cozy corners here in my home. And I do vignettes called Cozy Corners. So when I saw that grocery store was called the Cozy Corner, I was like, oh my gosh, here, take a picture underneath the sign. This is so cute, you know. So we spent a lot of time with Scott. There's a lot of little buildings there that you can go explore, some little shops there. We didn't go in anything because it was really raining cats and dogs. So we kind of stayed in Scott's car, and he drove us around and we looked around. They do have one hotel there in Whittier, the Inn in Whittier or something like that, but it's closed down right now for renovations, I believe because there was a flood or something. So we weren't able to go in there, but we saw it from a little bit of a distance. Trust me, we weren't that far away. Scott came on the ship with us. We went, he dropped us off and parked, and we walked in, and he came on the ship with us, and we met the fellows in the buffet, and we all went and ate at the buffet together and took a little tour of the Sapphire. Scott had never been on the Sapphire Princess, so we took him for a little tour, around the ship, and we just sat and talked and had a wonderful time catching up with Scott. It was so good to see him, and we just adore him so much. And thank you, Scott, if you're watching. Thank you for coming to Whittier, for giving us our tour, and for coming on board and having lunch with us and sitting and chitting and chatting with us for all that time. We love you. We all love you so much. Mwah! So I don't even know what time he left, later in the afternoon, I guess. And we just tooted around the ship and didn't do a lot until dinner. I think we all went back to our staterooms, and unpacked. We unpacked. And what we didn't in the morning, got myself organized. I hate being disorganized, you guys. I need to get my maps up on the wall in Alaska especially, and all of that stuff. So then we went to dinner and the Vivaldi dining room again. And again, we were scheduled to have dinner at 5 o'clock every evening with Tanaya and with Tudor. We had arranged with the manager of Vivaldi the week before, and we actually moved from a 4-top table to a 6-top table because we knew there was a couple from Australia, Stella, the same ones that joined us on the Juno, on Jaylene's Alaska trip. Stella and Richard were going to have dinner with us a couple of nights, so we went ahead and arranged for the 6-top. And we had a wonderful time that night, embarkation night, and had a lovely dinner. And also met a lot of people from the Alaskan Cruises on Princess group, because this was also going to be a group cruise for that group. And Pam Cheek, my dear friend Pam Cheek, we were partners in crime in the Alaskan Cruises on Princess group. I saw her and we had a big hug, and saw a group of folks that I'd never met, but who kind of knew me by my name or whatever, and who had just come from the land tour and onto the ship. Wonderful to meet this lovely group of folks. Here I have a picture, and we had a wonderful day. It was just a wonderful, what we call turnaround day. It was called turnaround day. So when we went off of the ship, let me tell you that we had to carry a little piece of paper with us that said guest in transit or passenger in transit, so that they would know that we were, guests that were going to be coming back on, and we were in transit, that we were not going to go away from the ship, that we were going to be coming back. So all in all, a wonderful day there at turnaround day, and seeing Scott and seeing Pam again and meeting all those new people. I met so many of you. I met so many of you on this cruise, this upcoming cruise too. I met so many, and I have pictures to share of those that I've met, and have shared a couple, I think, already. It was just, a wonderful time. And the crew was happy to see us back, happy to have us on there another week. We were always happy-go-lucky people. We always were kind. You know, take a moment to be kind to the crew members, you guys. Get to know them. Ask them about their families. They work so hard. They work such long hours, and so many of them send money home to their families at home. They don't keep a lot of money there with them. They send it home, so they are the breadwinners of their families, you know? So take a little time to get to know them. But anyway, we had a wonderful time on that day. So the next day we were going to be in, well, let me tell you about the itinerary for the southbound cruise is Whittier, and then Yakutak Bay, which is Hubbard Glacier, then Glacier Bay, then Skagway, then Juneau, then Ketchikan, then one day at sea, and then back to Vancouver. Sad day, back to Vancouver. But the very next day was a Thursday, June 22nd. We're going to be at Hubbard Glacier, you guys. And I've been wanting to do this small boat excursion forever and ever and ever and ever. I don't even remember what we did through the day, you guys. We did not climb on that small boat until late in the afternoon. I did not save my excursion tickets and did not take pictures of them. Can you believe that? We did get excursion tickets because I did book this trip, this Hubbard Glacier small boat cruise, and I'm going to tell you right up, it is expensive. It is super expensive, but worth every penny. And I did book it through my cruise personalizer. It did become available. If you're interested in this, look at your cruise personalizer under excursions and under Hubbard Glacier. If you do not see it listed there for 2024, for instance, or for later in 2023, you might want to call Princess or have your travel agent call Princess and see if they can arrange it if you're interested in it. I believe it was about $350 a person. I am pulling at my memory. I do not remember exactly, but it was not for the faint of heart. The price was not for the faint of heart for this. But in my mind, as many times as I've seen Hubbard Glacier from the cruise ship, many, many, many times in the past. But this time was special because getting on that small boat and going in closer to the glacier was an experience that I will hold in my mind and my heart forever and ever and ever. Hubbard Glacier is 7 miles wide, I believe 350 feet tall, soaring from the waterline up, and then another 250 feet soaring down below the waterline, and it calves. In other words, it sloughs off ice. When I'm talking ice, I'm talking apartment building size pieces of ice off of the front of it regularly. Its nickname is the Galloping Glacier. It is advancing, it is moving forward, and it is a glacier that seems to be alive, you know? So anyway, I obviously could, and Dawn and I, neither one of us could take our scooters on board this small boat excursion. If you cannot transfer from the cruise ship to the smaller ship, you guys, without any kind of mobility device, maybe a cane, you could take a cane, but as far as a walker is concerned, or a scooter or a wheelchair, I really don't think that would be possible for you guys. Thankfully, we were able to walk on board, and it is a catamaran, and I'll show you a picture of it here. It is a catamaran, and it had 2 stories, and yes, I did even walk upstairs and get upstairs to have that vantage point too. The downstairs is very warm, kept very warm. There is a concession stand. I think they sold alcohol, I believe, and beer and sodas, and I believe some hot chocolate was maybe complimentary, and coffee. I think they did give out some smoked salmon on crackers later in the voyage, and it was very nice. Beautiful. The boat inside was very nice cushioned chairs, and like I say, nice and warm. And even if you stayed inside, you still got a great vantage point of Hubbard Glacier. So anyway, we made our way to whatever deck they said, and Dawn ended up taking an elevator down. I ended up walking. I'm getting better and better and better, you guys. I can't walk for far distances, and I cannot stand for hours on end. But I'm doing much better on a daily basis with my knee because I've been losing so much weight, you know, and I think that that's really helping with my knee. But anyway, regardless, we all met together and walked onto the boat together. And then we started off and toward Hubbard Glacier, you know. And the captain is the one pretty much that did the commentary, you know, for us and told us about Hubbard and, you know, so on and so forth. We saw, what was it? I think a seal, maybe a harbor seal or a harbor or sea lion in the water. I didn't catch a picture of that. But there was a lot of ice in the water that they had to really maneuver around. It was very interesting. I was so excited. I met another lady on board. I met her sister in the morning. I believe both of them were on the boat, but I met her sister. I met her sister in the morning, that morning for breakfast, Joanne, I believe her name was. And then this lady's name, I have it on my phone. And if I can remember it, I'm sorry, I can't remember it as I sit here, but I'll put her name up there. And then I saw another lady, and then another lady came and took Chris and I's picture. Many people on this small boat knew me, you know, and came up and introduced themselves. And thank you guys so much for coming and introducing yourselves. For all of you on the ship, on the small boat, on any of the excursions out into towns, I met so many of you, and thank you so much for stopping me, and thank you for taking a picture with me, and thank you for all your sweet words and your loving comments and your hugs. I was I'm gonna cry. Sorry, overwhelmed. I really was overwhelmed. You guys touched my heart so much. Thank you so much. And I know I kind of threw that in the middle of talking about the small boat excursion. But anyway, to say that that was an experience beyond experiences is an understatement. We also got to hold a piece of the calved ice. I didn't realize it would be as heavy as it was. You kind of got in line and one of the crew members was standing there and he would just hand you this big chunk of ice. You know, you can see some pictures here. And so Barb took a turn and then I took a turn and then we kind of held it together and somebody else took my phone and took pictures. Everybody, you know, that's another thing. Everybody is always so kind on these excursions and on these cruises. You know, you hear so much negativity in our world today, and it is so refreshing to be with these folks who are just there with who are like-minded and are there enjoying the same thing that you are and are in just as much in awe as you are as to what they're seeing. You know, it's an amazing feeling. So anyway, we got done holding our glacial ice, which was probably hundreds of years old, not even exaggerating, you guys. And after we were finished with that, we kind of went back inside because we were starting to maneuver our way through the ice and get back to the cruise ship. I think I might have showed you some pictures of the Sapphire at a distance, and that showed how far away we were from the Sapphire. Then the Sapphire disappeared for a while. I don't even know where she went, or we went around a mountain or something. I'm not sure what happened, but all of a sudden we looked over and we're like, where's the Sapphire? Please come back, you know. Then again, we were like, it's okay. We don't mind staying here. We'll just stay here at Hubbard and somebody, you know, come pick us up one day, you know. But they took us back to the ship, and I did want to warn you, getting from the cruise ship onto the small boat and then getting from the small boat back off, you do walk down a ramp. They had a ramp that they had set up, but it is a moving ramp. So they do have handles on both sides. So y'all grab onto those handles because when you step onto that small boat is moving. Well, the ramp is moving. Once you get on the boat, it's a very smooth ride, you guys. But you do feel the movement of that ramp as you're walking down. So I'm just warning you that. And you do have to climb a pretty good incline to get back up onto the ship. So just to let you know, those couple of, you know, brass tacks things, because, you know, y'all have been telling me that you really like the details I give you guys. So those are the kind of details I think you're talking about, because I do like to mention those for those of us who have to transfer and who either if you do or don't have mobility issues, that can still be, you know, a little bit daunting, you know, to go from the ship and get and step onto this ramp, and the ramp's kind of moving, you know. So just hang on and take your time. There's crew members who will help you down. Trust me, they're very helpful, very, very helpful and kind and patient. Don't rush. Take your time. Take your time. So after, I don't even know, 2.5, 3 hours on this excursion, we went back on the ship. It was a formal night that night. That is the only formal night that we did not participate in. My outfits of the day, I forgot to even mention them. On College Fjord Day was just my jean jeggings. What's new? A burgundy, kind of a burgundy check top. And a black vest. You can find all 3 of those pieces on Amazon in my Amazon shop that I'll put a link for in the description. Then on turnaround day, I wore my jean jeggings again and my little florally jacket that I wore on embarkation day again, the day we saw Scott. And then on Hubbard Glacier Day, I was really dressed like a little Alaskan with my red and black buffalo check. And again, I wore that same vest I wore the day before, my jean jeggings, and the black and red buffalo check shirt. All of that you can find on Amazon too. I wore a red headband in my hair. And then when we went on the small boat excursion, I took the vest off and put my Alaska jacket on, added a scarf, and put my hair up, kept the headband in, but put my hair up because it was windy. So just to tell you that when you go outside on that small boat, it is a little windy. Ladies with your longer hair, you might want to put it up, or, you know, take something with you to put it up and get it out of your face if you want to. There's another one of those details. So anyway, we got back on the ship. We had a wonderful evening. We went to the buffet, I believe, or did we get hamburgers, hot dogs? I can't remember which one. We might have done both. Stopped and got a hot dog and then got in and got a salad. I might have done that. And ate at the buffet. Then we played cards, I believe, that night, and just relaxed, you know, on board after a very satisfying day, really exciting day, and looking forward to another day in Glacier Bay the next day, which I'm not going to, you know, tell you about that again because I told you about both of our Glacier Bay days in last week's video. So that was it. That was it for our time. The last 2 days of the northbound voyage of the Glacier's cruise, and then the first day of the southbound voyage of the Glacier's cruise. I think I'm only going to maybe do 1, maybe 2 more videos. It just depends because we really did not do, we already told you about Jaylene's. So what I have to tell, and I already told you about Glacier Bay. So I only have to tell you about Skagway and Ketchikan, and we didn't do anything really of interest in either of those ports and the disembarkation. So I really might just do 1 more video and wrap up this Alaska back-to-back series, you guys. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. I've enjoyed bringing it to you. I'm sorry, it's the videos I've been so busy, y'all, since we got home from our trip, that it has just been one thing after another. I am going to add a crew appreciation in with my last video in this series too. So anyway, all right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and do my final words now. Again, thank you guys for stopping in here. Please subscribe to either channel if you would. Arlene's Country Craft Corner. If you guys are interested in fall decor, I'm going to start ramping up for that in the next month. And then Christmas after that. My house is a full switch out for Christmas. I'm doing a new kind of fall decor this year. If you're interested in crafting or decorating, home decorating, head over to Arlene's Country Craft Corner and subscribe. Those of you on Country Craft Corner, you know, I have been double posting this time, but may not always double post. I double post for Alaska, you guys, because I know a lot of you on my Country Craft Corner channel love Alaska too. So I do double post my Alaska trips, but we got a Panama Canal trip coming up and other trips coming up that will probably be only on my Travels channel, Arlene's Travels. So please do subscribe to my Arlene's Travels. Hit the notification bell, hit the like on both. I would appreciate it so very much, you guys, how it really helps me out. I'm not monetized on my Arlene's Travels channels, because those are what I share in Facebook, and they don't like, some people in Facebook groups don't like people with that are monetized to put their links in. I'm not sure why. I don't put my links in it for money, you guys. I put my links to help people, honestly. Anyway, thank you guys in advance for those subscriptions. I appreciate it. It's free. It's free to subscribe. So thank you guys in advance. So with all that said, I'll go ahead into my final words and say, for those of you who might be struggling or suffering with a catastrophic illness or chronic pain, I hope that you have someone there with you, taking care of you, helping you get through each day, making the very, very best out of each day. I hope there's nothing weighing on your minds or your hearts, pulling your attention away from where you want it to be or from where it should be. I love y'all to bits, to bits, to bits. Hugs all around, and I keep you in my thoughts and my prayers every single day. And with all that said, I'll just say, until next time, y'all take good care. Bye-bye.